It's a Republican trifecta, a Republican takeover, a Republican connect of all three branches of government. It's real, and in 2025, it's happening. I'm going to do the math for you in a second, but first, lots of you have been asking, what does that mean constitutionally for the checks and balances that we're supposed to have? It means elections have consequences. Voters voted, and this is what the majority wanted. Since the Republicans are now projected to control the United States House of Representatives and also won control of the Senate, that means Republicans will control the entire legislative branch. Of course, Donald Trump won the White House, so Republicans will also control the executive branch. And conservatives hold a supermajority of the judicial branch in the highest court in the land, the United States Supreme Court. Hence, the trifecta. Now, technically, one branch can check the other, but if they're all on the same team, it's not likely. Anything can happen. Now, what's going to be interesting to watch is what happens with the House voting majority, especially since the president-elect has selected 3 House Republicans to serve in his cabinet. To the math! To have control of the United States House of Representatives, you need to have at least 218 seats. Well, no surprise. Last night, the Associated Press projected that Republicans had indeed secured 218 seats and Democrats had secured 209 seats. There are still 8 seats left to be called. According to the AP, projected 4 for Republicans and 4 for Democrats. Simple math. That would mean if both of those hold up, Republicans would have 222 seats and Democrats would have 213 seats. Obviously, 222 is more than 218, so Republicans, of course, would have the majority. Now, let's talk about what happens when it comes to passing pieces of legislation. So, since Republicans have the majority, Republicans get to try and pass whatever bills they want, packed full of their priorities, with very few priorities that Democrats would be on board with. So in that case, if Republicans wanted to get their bill passed, they would have to get the 218 votes necessary from their 222 seats, which means they could only afford to lose 4 no votes and still get that piece of legislation passed. So if 4 of their members said, nah, I don't like this, they could still get that bill through. Now, what's interesting here is President-elect Trump has just nominated 3 Republicans from this number to sit on his cabinet: Elise Stefanik, Mike Walls, and Matt Gaetz. So if they are confirmed, we are going to subtract 3 from that number, which means Republicans then would only have a 219 seat majority. Obviously, 219, still more than 218, but it's not 222. In that same scenario, with that same hypothetical piece of legislation, the numbers change because the number of available seats change. So you would only need 217 votes to get that piece of legislation through. But Republicans now only have 219 seats to secure those votes from. That means they would only have 2 votes to spare. 2 votes! That is going to be extremely difficult. 4 can be done. 2 is going to be very hard. Now, the thing is that these 3 are not going to be missing for very long, because if these 3 are indeed confirmed, the governors in their states, so in Florida and New York, will hold special elections, and those seats will be filled by Republicans because those are very reliably Republican districts. But regardless, whether the Republican majority is 219 or 222, it's going to be very tight. And every single one of these Republican members is going to be very vocal about how they are voting on every piece of legislation. It's going to be a lot like what we've been dealing with for the last 2 years.